When we start talking about drinking like a pirate, inevitably we will come to grog, which in truth is not what pirates drank, it's what the Royal British Navy drank. But some of those sailors became pirates, therefore pirates drank it at some point.
Let's fly!
You've got the word of Long John Silver. Shipmates.
Grog is a mixture of rum and water, and it is named for British Vice Admiral Edward Vernon, who in August of 1740 issued Captain's Order number 349, which said that each sailor's half pint, that's 8 ounces of rum if you haven't used pints in a while, of rum ration was to be diluted into a quart of water and split into 2 issuings a day. The sailors, they didn't much like this. They wanted their rum at full strength, neat, to do with as they pleased. The sailors were entitled to 8 ounces of rum a day. That was part of their pay. Part of the understanding that they had with the Navy was, we're gonna Shanghai you, we're gonna throw you on a boat, we're gonna conk you on the head in a tavern, put you on a boat, and when you wake up, you're gonna be 20 miles from shore and you'll be in the Navy. We call that pressing you into service. That's what a press gang was. Go around collecting people. In exchange, you'll get paid, fed, see the world, and be drunk. And so they gave him 8 ounces of rum a day. Prior to the rum, it was in fact beer or wine, whatever. There was always some ration of spirits involved. You'll read all over the internet that this had to do with keeping the water clean, that they would put the alcohol into water, or that beer was like water, you know, it is, and that would kill the bugs in it and stuff like that. I've never read that. I just personally have not read that in any contemporary writings of the time frame. That doesn't mean it wasn't true. I feel like that's an assumption from, I just have a hunch that that's not so true. I think that it was just sort of, if we don't keep the men fucking a little bit drunk, they will mutiny. I really think that's what it was. How it got the name Grog, of course, is because Vice Edward Vernon was nicknamed Old Grog. He happened to wear this Grogham cloth coat, and they called him Old Grog. He was apparently a real stuffy guy. You know, he wasn't a nice guy. He was very, Bristol fashion. Doesn't like any kind of stepping out of line, that kind of business. And so they called him Old Grog, and they hated this drink, so they named it for him Grog. They hated it. Old Grog was not heartless and was not without good sense. He did suggest that sailors who had the means should buy themselves some lime and sugar to put into their grog. It makes it taste better. I'm not gonna give you the lime or the sugar. I'm not doing that. If you are like a fresh man afore the mast and you're not making a lot of money here, well, that's just tough titties to you, bad boy. If you've been, if you're a master seaman of some kind, you might have a few extra bucks. We're in port. Pick yourself up some limes and sugar. I'm gonna tell you what, makes my grog a lot better. You're gonna like my grog better with lime and sugar. Not giving you the lime and sugar. In 1795, only 55 years, which actually is quite a long time, after the grog was introduced, they did make lime or lemon mandatory, and they provided, as far as I know, because they finally figured out how you get scurvy and how you prevent scurvy. The Vice Admiral here, he hardly invented this idea of diluting the rum ration with water. He just made it a requirement across the Navy. I assume stuff like this was going on various boats. You know, captains had great leeway in how they ran their ship. He was directing the captains. This is how you run your ship. There had been issues with drunkenness on ships due to the ration of undiluted rum. Here's your 8 ounces of rum. I trust you barely literate 14-year-old that I kidnapped to do smart things with that. But there'll be more tomorrow if you mess it up, is probably a bad idea. 8 ounces of rum, that's a lot of rum. The grog was really a means of him diluting the rum and slowing their ingestion of the rum down. 4 ounces of rum put into 16 ounces of water, not such a bad way to handle it. Let's make ourselves some grog. Very, very easy. It is 1 part rum, 4 parts water. What would be the most period appropriate rum I can lay hands to? Well, it would be a molasses-based rum made in a pot still and strong, at least 50% ABV. The answer there, as far as I know, is Smith & Cross. Jamaican rums are also, could be called an English rum. Other islands, of course, made English-style rums, but that's molasses rum, pot still. A few other factors there, but English-style rums. This is as close to the rum that would have been on a ship of the line that I can grab. It's not far wrong if it's wrong. Let's put in here 2 ounces of rum. Yar. Yar! I'll be talking like old Mr. Any pirate in any movie ever since Walt Disney's Treasure Island, yar. Here we are now with our water. All right, now here we go. We've got 2 ounces of rum. That'd be 1 part. Now you need 8 ounces of water. 2 4 6 doubloon. Actually, I think a doubloon would be a double piece of 8, if I'm not mistaken. So that would have been 16 real, right? I think so. I don't know. I could be off on that. That's it. That's grog. That's the whole shebang there. Just diluted rum. Let's see how it is. It's honestly not bad. Honestly, it tastes like rum. It tastes like all of the flavors of that rum with none of the fire. You can really pull it apart and taste it. I get all kinds of baking spices, honestly, and sort of like slightly metallic molasses notes. A little bit of leather, I would say, actually. A little bit of that in there, kind of. Is that what I'm looking for? Leather? Is a little bit of band-aidiness, maybe? I'm not sure. I would say leather. I would say salted leather, yar. It tastes all right. It's not a bad way to get me rum. Now, here's the thing about how diluting alcohol works. First off, my rum ration would have been twice this size. It would have been 16 ounces of water with 4 ounces of rum in it. And I could drink 16 ounces of water pretty quick. So the fact that I diluted the alcohol does not really affect my BAC when I finish the mug. If I finish my rum ration within 20 minutes, I will be pretty drunk. If I happen to sip at it for a while, I won't be pretty drunk. How long did it take me to drink my rum ration? I don't know. I feel like I was pretty busy on that boat, and I probably had to swill it down pretty quick. I could be wrong. A lot of sailing is just sort of sitting around, so maybe not. Maybe I had time to, ponder the sea, shoot at some dolphins, scream at some turtles, and drink me rum. Hey, that's a fun thing. I found this out from 99% Invisible. Turtles, sea turtles, now endangered. I'll be visiting the sea turtle hospital in the Keys pretty soon. But when the people first came over here, apparently sea turtles were so lousy in the Caribbean that the sailors complained that they couldn't sleep because they kept banking into the hull of the boat and waking them up. It's possible there was some crazy sea turtle bloom when that happened. It wasn't normal, but yeah, a lot of sea turtles. Maybe something killed all the seagulls those years. There was fewer garbage dumps for the seagulls. Actually, that may not be true. The garbage dumps have been around for a long time. Now let's assume, for just a moment here, that I am not a able-bodied seaman. I'm a master seaman. I have the ability to afford a bit of sugar and a lime now and again. So let's put in a tablespoon. Sugar's not free. And the juice of half a lime. Maybe it would have been a whole lime. I don't know. It probably would have been a whole lime because what am I going to do with the other half of the lime, right? Like it's just going to... Lemons don't do this, but I do find that limes, they get like a hard shell sometimes. And I don't know how to inspire that in their aging. But like once they develop that hard shell, they kind of self-preserve seemingly almost indefinitely at room temperature, which is cool. And now I'm just going to try to dissolve that as much as I can. Fully froth that up. Oh, spats! Certainly a lot more enjoyable than plain grog. But honestly, the plain grog wasn't that bad. If you're interested in the more piratey version of this, check out Bumbu. The links are abound. A lot of interesting history about Bumbu, just like there is about grog. I could conceivably do a much bigger episode about the history of rum and piracy that would tie all of this together. Right now, I'm just playing around with pirate-appropriate cocktails. Cocktails is a strong word. And certainly we can do modernized versions of this, but basically any Planter's Punch formulation is going to be grog. It occurs to me that a lot of people are using this show as their personal cocktail guide, which is a huge honor and a privilege, honestly, but YouTube is terrible at that. If that describes you, if you're using the show as your cocktail guide, if you stand there with your friends looking up stuff on my YouTube channel while you're trying to make drinks, that is a pain in the ass, and I get that. So I made an app. It's called HTD App. Since it's platform agnostic and web-based, you can use it on desktop, iPhone, whatever. It has all the drinks and episodes of the show in here. If you clear all your filters, you can see every drink ever made. When there's more than one version, you can see multiple versions. You can take that drink and add it to your keeper, and then go back to your home, and then go back to drinks. And then you can filter by favorites and look. It's gonna be right there. You can also, of course, search by name. You can search by ingredients. You can search by the media it's adapted from. You can search by tags, preparation method, all of those things. If you wanted like the drinks that I made for Animal Crossing when I did that during the pandemic, you'll see the Blue Hawaiian and the Vacation Juice right there. There it is. That is a benefit for members of my Patreon. Over at my Patreon, you will of course have access to the app. You will also have access to our private Discord, which is an amazing community that our mods are doing a fantastic job of organizing monthly happy hours and biannual, twice a year, Secret Santas. All kinds of fun conversation happening in there that has nothing to do with drinks, but also drinks and food and everything. You'll get access to behind the scenes content, extended episodes, the show without ads. You'll get access to exclusive cocktails. Sometimes I elaborate further in an exclusive patron thing. All of that and more. And if any of that is of appeal to you, I welcome you and we'll see you in the Discord. If there's nothing over there that is of interest to you, I would love to know in the comments what it is that we could do to make the Patreon, to sweeten the Patreon and whet your appetite. To my patrons, thank you all so much for making this show possible. None of this can happen without you. You make my world go round. Now the thing about the Grog ration got smaller over the years, but the Grog continued up until 1970. It was much less by then, but everybody was still assembling for their daily ration of Grog until someday in 1970, which they call the Black Tot, the final day of the Grog. The Tot was your Grog. There's a brand of rum called Pussers. It's sailor cant for the purser, the person who acquires all the goods, the food, the water, the rum. They outfit the ship for sailing, so it's the purser's rum. Pursers makes the claim that they are the rum of the British Navy, the Tot, etc. They're not gonna be a sponsor if I tell you this, but in truth, it was actually sometime after the Tot, a company came along and bought the recipe for, I think, like, they claim to have bought a recipe from the British Navy or something like that. I don't think the Navy was in the process of making rum, as far as I know. They were acquiring it. Like, none of that really makes sense to me. It's a good bit of marketing. They are also the company that has trademarked the painkiller and claims that you must use Pusser's rum if you make a painkiller, which is bullshit, in my opinion. It's good rum. I don't want to it's fine rum. I'm just not a fan of the marketing gimmick. So don't come after me, Pussers. I think you make great rum. I just don't like your marketing. That is it, guys. Thank you so much. I will see you soon in another HTD. Until then, yar!